a very, very isolated man who was really, he was in his mid-40s, never had a girlfriend, didn't have relationships with people. For those of you who are clinicians, we would have called him schizoid. And he was very unhappy, and he came to me because he wanted to try to be more like someone else. He thought that since he'd met me at workshops and he knew that I loved people and I loved to socialize, that maybe I could rub off on him a little bit and he could become a different person. And then one day, he came in with a problem that took, I kid you not, 5 months to resolve. It was a problem with a clink in his car. And the clink in his car wouldn't go away. It was just a little noise. And he could not figure out what the clink was about. So he spent every session perseverating about the pipes in the car and the motor and the engine. He started to know the pistons and the fans and how the whole thing, session after session after session. And he said to me, is it all right that I'm just talking to you about the car? And I said, it's very important that you talk about it. I told him, you have to talk about it. That's what's on your mind. The car was a metaphor for his inner life. It's how I understood it. Well, in the 5th month of being with this patient, talking about his car, he decided that he was going to talk about the car with his mechanic. This was tremendous progress for this patient. He became interested in having a relationship with someone because he was having such a good experience in his connection with me being able to see that his perseveration was okay and also hearing him. So sometimes you have to pass through a series of emotional experiences before you can get to the big kahuna. So he went to a mechanic, and the mechanic didn't want to have anything to do with him. He said, just leave the car here. Didn't really have time to talk to him. And he looked at him like, this guy's a little weird. He's hanging around. He wants to talk. But there was a kid at the mechanic's shop. He was some kind of intern, and he found that he could engage the kid. The kid was in the same position he was, learning all about the pipes and the valves and the fans and everything else. He struck up the conversation, and he and this kid became friends. And he went to the mechanic's shop there and became a weekend driver for the people who were getting their cars fixed to help out at the gas station. So that was a new experience for the patient that he had never had, a new feeling of being connected. Sometimes we don't know what feeling is missing inside ourselves because you don't know what you haven't got, right? How can we know what's missing if we don't know that it exists out there? But being able to search for this experience as part of the puzzle of why you can't move forward, that there might be a feeling that you haven't yet had about yourself. It could be positive, it could be negative. Maybe you haven't allowed yourself to feel something in the anger dimension, or in the joy dimension, or in the success dimension. You never know. It's all a mystery. But if you search for that experience, that's another way that you can move forward in whatever your goal is.